Right, so how do you get dross off of a part that's come off of a plasma cutter, plasma CNC table, or been cut with a torch? You don't know, dross is this little metal crap that rolls over the edge of a cut on the underside. What's happening here is you got metal that's being blasted away, it's liquid, it sees colder metal right next to it, and it just kind of lays down onto it and becomes stuck. 5 good ways to deal with this. The first, take your part, bang it off a table. If you don't have a metal table, bang it off a concrete floor. What you want to do is lift the part up and bring it down flat. What that's going to do is knock most of the loose dross off. You can even do it 2 or 3 times if you need to. So step 2, 3, and 4 you can do in any order, it doesn't really matter. Take a needle scaler and hit any of the remaining dross. Needle scaler's like a dozen or so little metal rods that kind of poke things. The only downside to a needle scaler is you only want to do that on the non-visible side of your part because you're going to leave little dents and little scratches in the metal. It's not enough to show through on the other side, but it is enough to look bad when you paint it or powder coat it. You can also use a cold chisel. You just either hit it with a hammer or just hold it in your hand and kind of whack on the part, knocking it again away from the part. You want the cold chisel heading off of the part into the dross. It's really just you simulating what a needle scaler is doing. It has the same issue where you might leave little dings or dents or scratches in the metal. Another one, we'll call this step 4. Grab a grinder, get a wire cup or wire brush on it. I prefer a twisted wire cup, and start knocking the dross off. When you're looking down at the grinder, the cup's going to be rotating clockwise, so you want to be where your left side is on the part and your right side is off of the part, and the cut's right down the middle. That way dross is getting knocked away. Because dross is mostly only connected right along the edge of the cut. It looks like it's big, but it's really only attached at the edge. And of course, step 5 is hit the dross with either an abrasive wheel or a flap disc. I prefer a flap disc. I always just use 36 or 40 grit. I like to go in that order because the needle scaler and cold chisel are fast. A twisted wire cup is also pretty quick. One of the things you can do, especially with smaller parts or thin gauge, is use the wire brush first, because that's going to knock off a lot and you don't have to spend as much time with the needle scaler. It really doesn't matter what order you do them in. Another reason to go through knocking dross off in this order: bang it off a table, hit it with a needle scaler or cold chisel if you don't have a needle scaler, then come back with a twisted wire cup on a grinder, and then lastly an abrasive wheel or a flap disc. The reason I go in that order is that's the descending order of easy and the descending order of expensive. A needle scaler lasts a long time, a cold chisel is probably gonna outlast your grandkids. A wire cup lasts a long time, I probably get a year's use out of them. And flap disc, you know, you go through. Just don't let the safety guy see you throwing parts around, because they're gonna start complaining just like they do in the comments. Thanks, I'll see you in the next one.